All right, guys, you got us on the next day. Just to recap what yesterday's video was about, you saw us and some few friends come through here and we put all of these center hoops together, and we also ran the purlin down the center, and we got that totally adjusted side to side and front to back. Now, very important pro tip on this is take your time. Do not get in a rush, because what you are doing up here is literally leveling off or proportionately leveling off these hoops up and down and side to side. So you want to make sure you have a couple buddies with you. You want to make sure that you have all the tools in your pouch that you need to do the job, so you're not running back and forth and taking up a lot of time. And also, you want to make sure that you are reading your instructions. Everything you need to know about this is included in the instructions, or you can find it on bootstrapfarmer.com, or you can call customer service and they will help you and assist you and walk you through these steps to make sure that your installation goes 120%. But anyway, guys, we're here at the next day. So what we are tackling today is the hip and baseboard installation. If you're anything like me, you're going to want to read this at least 2 or 3 different times and make sure you completely understand the literature that they are throwing at you. It took me a couple times of reading it, and I'm that type of person that physically has to lay the items on the ground to understand exactly what they're wanting me to do. After I laid those out, I kind of saw it in my head, and then I knew, okay, this is how I need to proceed forward. I went ahead and did the other side, and now we are stepping back on this side, so I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do this. First thing you want to do is make sure you read through the instructions thoroughly, front to back, at least twice, so you can completely understand the gist of it like we just talked about. You want to make sure that you lay out your first set of hoops, and you want to make sure you carry all the tools that you need to start this. So once you start here, I like to start at the beginning, and then I like to work my way down. I don't want to keep walking back and forth to find these tools over and over and over again. That just takes up a lot of unwasted time, and on the farm, time is money. So you want to make sure you use your time and your investment wisely. So this is one good pro tip to do that. All right, guys, saying that, like I said, I have got the baseboard already on that. What I did was I just leveled it to the ground because my ground is fairly level. So what I did is I just put it on the ground here and put everything together according to the instructions. But I'm now going to show you exactly how to do this up here. The idea is this is going to be your roll-up side. So literally you can put your roll-up side here. You can put your roll-up side here. Heck, you can even put your roll-up side up there if that's how you want it to go. It's entirely up to you.
The white zone is for immediate loading and unloading of passengers only. No parking.
Where you want to put your roll-up side. Now, I do advise you from going up this arch, because this arch is slowly going to arch up. I do advise you not to go up this high, and the reason why I say that is because included in the kit is your roll-up sides. If you order the complete kit, it will come with the apparatus to roll up the sides. That piece of equipment rides on a 1/2-inch conduit that is staked in the ground. So that way when you roll up the side and let go of the handle, it will lock in place. So if you only want the sides to open up this high, it'll stay there. If you want them to open up this high, it'll stay there. If you want it to open up to maximum height, it will lock itself and stay there. That way you don't have to worry about letting go of the handle and it just unwinds down to the ground. Saying that, that piece of conduit is put out in front of this high tunnel for this apparatus to ride on.
Hi, this is Julian from the Bootstrap Farmer Tech line. I get a lot of calls about hand cranks and how they operate. I'd like to clarify a couple things with you. The first thing is how to roll them up and the correct way that they roll up. So they should roll to the inside. So when you crank on it, it rolls to the inside. That way when it rains, the rain doesn't go inside and fill up the actual rolled up side. Okay, so sometimes people wonder how you roll the side up when the crank interferes with the ground. Well, the handle that's on the side here, you just lift up and start cranking, and it's going to start rolling the plastic up inside. Many customers don't understand how this actually works. So a lot of times I get asked about how this is gonna roll up and down because it's so loose on the guide post. But in fact, this post is just that, it's a guide post. So if you were to try to crank this by itself without having a guide post, the body of the gear housing just spins. And when it spins, it's not going up or down. So when it's on the guidepost and you turn the crank, instead of this being stationary, the body stays stationary and the opposite side rolls up or rolls down. The guide rod just keeps the actual gearbox body from spinning.
Now you can remember back to when we did this install. You remember these poles. Remember this guideline. I've got it sucked down right now, but remember we had this guideline pulled up to the bottom of these holes. So we know that is a known set point. So as soon as I ran that string line all the way down, this is now level. You can say, well, Trace, you could use that. Well, by all means you could. If you notice, this is a different size pipe than the ground post here, which you've got your carriage bolt running through here. I'm sorry. Oh, you've got your bolt running through here. It's not a carriage bolt. You could technically just hang your post off of that if you want to, and then you wouldn't have to level, you wouldn't have to measure, you wouldn't have to do anything, because you know going down this line you are 100% level according to that string line. I want it to be a little higher than that. I would like to have more airflow coming into this tunnel than less. That seems to help keep the crops a little bit cooler, especially where I'm at. I have really, besides those two trees you see in the background, which do not cover this space, we're in full sun here. I mean, we are in full sun, and it gets pretty hot up here. So I want to make sure I have as much airflow going into this tunnel as possible. So I've decided that 36 inches is the perfect height for the top of this rail. So what I'm going to do is grab my tape measure, and I am going to mark the top of this rail at 36 inches from the ground, okay? Now, if you look at that, my 36-inch mark is right there. So I'm gonna make just a little mark with this file, because it's more permanent than a magic marker. I'm just gonna lay that on the ground there so it's out of my way. I am going to take my drill driver apparatus, and I'm gonna follow the instructions, and it will tell me, begin on the side that you started with the ridge pole. This is where we started on the ridge pole. You're not going to want to start in the middle. You're going to want to start on the ends here, whether it's that end or this end, doesn't really matter, but you want to start on the end. You want to take one of your wiggle wire tracking, which is this light aluminum C channel here. You want to cut it in half. Cutting it in half will be 39 inches. And the reasoning why you want to do that is because that staggers this joint coming off the front, and then from this point on you can run full 6'6" pieces and not have to cut this anymore. A very, very smart idea. So what we want to do is in your kit you are included with a number 10 gasketed self-tapping screw, and you're included with a number 8. On this hat channel you want to use the gasketed screws. And then when you're putting the wiggle wire on, or the wiggle wire tracking on, you want to use the number 8 because they are inside the channel. These actually will waterproof up to your pipe. So what I like to do is I go ahead and get my screw. It's a magnetic tip, which is included in this kit, by the way. So if you don't have one, it's included in there, and you will be able to use it for other projects also. So what I like to do is I like to find the end of this right here, and I want to put this flush now. I want it to be nice and flush. And you can use a clamp. I'm not using a clamp right now, but it's pretty easy to hold. But you can use a clamp to help you assist this if you need to. I found the end where my mark is. Gonna get the screw. A magnetic tip driver really helps with this a lot. There it is, and you can let that hang because you are held by that first screw. So now what I am going to do is I'm going to grab my level, and I'm going to set my level up on this first pipe, and then I'm going to proceed to put the other screws in. Okay, so I'm going to grab my level. Now on levels, if you guys have used levels before, you know longer the level, the better it is to find level. The little short levels work really good, but they don't give you the distance. Now a good 3-foot level like this will give you perfect sight down this gauge and will help you get this level, because you guys got to remember the first one is what we're going off. So if this one is not level, the rest of them going down the line are not going to be level. So you want to make sure, if anything, this very first one is level going down. So all you've got to do is push it up until you find level, which is right there. There you go. I'll show you that. That bubble is perfectly level. All right, all I did, guys, is I took that piece of 39-inch channel that we cut in half, and I flushed it up against the flush of this hat channel here. The reasoning why on that is I want to get it as close as possible for aesthetics, but also that gives me the perfect length going all the way down, so I do not have to cut any more of this channel. I just want to go halfway to it, put my number 8 screw in there. Now remember, you're using the screw without the gasket into the channel here. So we're going to go through here and put another one here. My recommendation is putting one every 16 to 18 inches, probably, maybe 12 to 16 inches. That way, when you've got the full pressure, especially on this top one, because this is going to hold your wiggle wire, which is going to hold your plastic from both sides. You want to make sure this is not going to fall off, because this ultimately is what's holding the plastic onto your tunnel. So we've got that going, and you're still trying to figure out, well, I don't understand why you've had to do that. Well, here's the reasoning why. And I'm going to explain to you real quick. To put these two pieces of hat channels together, you got to have somewhat of a splice. They provide you with this box tubing that's probably about 12 inches long, it looks like. This is what you are going to use for the splice. This fits inside the channel, and it's flush against the back, so you don't snag any screws on your clothing or your arm or anything like that. Very smart idea, so you don't cut yourself while you're working. Not a lot of high-tone kits or that I have seen actually think about that. That's kind of a hindsight, and it's a very important fact here. But you want to go ahead and just kind of split this in half. By all means, you don't have to measure this perfectly in the middle. Just eyeball it a little bit. Now you're going to say, well, this is easy. I'm just going to put a screw in here and go all the way down this tracking, and then I'll come back and put the wiggle wire tracking on. And you would be wrong. Like I said, that's in the instructions. The reasoning why you have to attach this wiggle wire tracking onto here is because the screw has to go through the wiggle wire tracking through the hat channel and into the splice. If you put the screw here to go into that splice, the screw head is now exposed to the top of this hat channel. Is because the screw has to go through the wiggle wire tracking through the hat channel and into the splice. If you put the screw here to go into that splice, the screw head is now exposed to the top of this hat channel. When you go to put this wiggle wire tracking on, it's going to be protruded. This wiggle wire tracking is now not going to be flush to this hat channel. It's going to be all messed up. So you want to make sure you follow that in the instructions. So what we are going to do is we are going to attach it to the hat channel. Simple, simple. I'm going to come over here, attach this right here to this hat channel. Just like that. Let it hang because it's not going to hurt anything. Like I said, if you got two people, this is awesome, but one person can get this job done. We are going to find this dead center. Like I said, every 16 to 12 inches is where you want to put this. So we see that's a little loose. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and pop another one right here. Just like that. See, now that's nice and tight. That's not going anywhere. All right, now that we're up close and personal, you can kind of get an idea what this looks like. So you've got your wiggle wire tracking. You've got your hat channel here. Now you are going to take your splice, grab your impact driver, just kind of eyeball it in the back there to where it's halfway to halfway. Use your hand on the back side there. There we go. Got the first one in. We're just going to find where the splice backing is, and it's right about here. So we're going to go to the end, put another one in, and you notice that splice is nice and tight. You can see that splice is now attached to the back side. So what we are going to do is we're going to take this next piece of hat channel, and we are going to install it in between the splice and just like that, so it's nice and flush. So then what we're going to do is we're just going to let it hang here, and we're going to grab our level. Once again, we're going to put our level right here, as you guys can see that. Hopefully you can see that level. And then we are going to switch bits, and we are going to screw this second piece up to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this hat channel up to where we are level. Can you guys help me out there? Is that level? Looks level to me. There we go. We are level. Now, you notice we're flush here, and all we've got to do now is put the next splice in here. Just like that. Swap the bits. I know it sounds like a lot, and you're wondering, well, God, that's a lot of steps to make this done, but really, this is how this needs to be done. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 more screws on this other side of this splice right here. There's one. Feel on the back and feel where the end of that splice is. Just like that. Now, we are rock solid here. See how perfectly level that is now, guys? Now, this just has to be repeated all the way down this tunnel. Like I said, guys, the best thing to do is grab your instruction book, read it a couple times. Like I said, I was a little confused of what the wording was, but once I laid this on the ground and I got to see it with my own 2 eyes, then it kind of clicked in my head. Oh, okay, I need to move this. This is moving like 2 or 3 steps, and this goes all the way down. As you can see, the end of this. We're here now. We've got hat channel. So what we need to do is get another piece of the strapping, put it on the end here, screw it down, get another splice, and we do the exact same thing we did here. We just work our way all the way down. And this leads to a nice tight, this is your structure of your tunnel. This is an amazing kit so far. I mean, I've done, I do have other stuff on my YouTube channel. It's just Kansas Garden Guy. And I have a Facebook page that is Summer Pick Farms. There are other videos. I do have video series on a DIY Bootstrap Farmer kit. So if you're thinking about the DIY kit, I do have a 6-part series on how I did that from start to finish. And after doing that kit last year and starting with this all metal kit this year, this is such an easier way of going about it. Yes, it's a little more money, but everything is included in this kit. All of the thinking is included in the instruction book for you. So you don't have to do a lot of the side thinking, trying to come up with ideas to make things work. Everything is here for you. You don't even have to go to the store. As long as you've got a tape measure, a drill, and a level, you pretty much can get this done. I mean, this is nice and tight, guys. I mean, I'm shaking it pretty good. It's moving, yes, but guys, this is gonna last any type of wind. I know with my DIY tunnel, we had some 70-mile-per-hour gusts this summer, and I didn't have any damage with that, so I'm confident, 120% confident, this kit is gonna last 70-mile-per-hour Kansas winds like it's no problem. But once again, guys, on this series, you watched us put this tracking on. I've got to get busy, get the rest of it, and then I'll catch up with you on the next video. You're gonna have to edit the shit out of this, Nick.